Welcome to Star Citizen and a special before the gentleman news. After breaking the magic 5,000 subscriber mark, I would like to thank you all. You are the biggest motivation for me and I'm happy to be a part of this community. Thank you so much. But since actions speak louder than 1,000 words, there are some very special giveaways for you for this milestone this month, in addition to the usual regular giveaways. But that's not all. For the Invictus launch week, there will be more big surprises for you. And at this point, we would like to thank you, our sponsors this month, Walter Perspektiven GmbH and Firefox. You are true gentlemen. Thank you very much. But now, as usual, to the gentleman news. In the first part of the news, we deal with the upcoming Capacitor gameplay. It is nothing new that the complexity of the different gameplay mechanics in Star Citizen is expanding and deepening more and more. However, in the area of space combat with the Capacitor gameplay, we not only have an expansion, but also the possibility to directly implement our very own playstyle. Until now, we already had the possibility to influence how much damage we can do or how much we can take via the various equipment components, such as weapons, shields, cooler or power plants. This system is significantly expanded by the implementation of capacitors, short-term energy storage, and thus gains in depth. These capacitors offers us an additional energy pool, which is available for a limited time and which, after being emptied, is then recharged via our ship systems, the power plants, and is available again. We have the direct control over this energy pool, which we can distribute according to our wishes. We can therefore choose for ourselves whether we want to use this additional energy store on our weapons, shields or even the engines. The capacitors should not be confused with the overclocking of the ship's systems, which is still possible. Rather, the capacitors provide their respective systems with more energy for use in the short term, which then achieves a higher efficiency or performance for this limited period of time. And after we will get extended displays for this, which still represents a first version and do not play the final appearance again, we analyze the previous UI elements. In the lower area we have 3 different bars, which presumably represent an energy pool for the weapons, the shields and the engines. Here we can influence all 3 areas and divide the capacitor energy or focus on one area. And another note, we cannot transfer our ship's energy from the shields to the weapons, for example. This is only the additional energy pool of the capacitors, which we can use to push the charge rate and performance of the systems in the short term. The upper display shows our weapons, whereby ballistic weapons have a negligible energy consumption but a considerable ammunition consumption. Energy weapons such as laser repeaters will clearly benefit from the short energy surge of the capacitors, but this energy cannot be used for other systems. In the weapons display area in the upper right area, the purple indicator shows us the energy charge rate, how quickly our weapons are charged by the capacitors. The yellow indicator, or the white, on the other hand, shows how much energy is currently in the weapon. And the narrow indicator underneath gives us an indication of how high the current energy consumption or the power of the weapon is. So in every fight we can choose for ourselves whether we want to focus our weapons in order to achieve a higher damage output, whether we want to use more defensive capabilities via focus shield energy, or whether we want to use this short-term energy boost defensively for a possible escape, and this for our engines. And of course, it is still possible to leave this energy distribution at a standard value, which adequately supplies all systems. However, we have the possibility to focus and specialize in one area. In the left area we find another purple indicator and an additional marker in the area of the SCM speeds. We assume from the arrangement that this is an active energy indicator for our engines and afterburner. But also the next topic in this news has already indirectly to do with the energy distribution. In the second part of the news, we will deal with operator gameplay. Anyone who has ever sat in a co-pilot seat or activated one of the often numerous terminals in larger ships will certainly have noticed that we have only very limited possibilities to actively influence the ship's systems or even to achieve a positive effect. And this is where the different operator modes comes into play, starting with the missile operator mode, a dedicated mode that deals exclusively with the missile and torpedo mechanics, and especially in heavy torpedo bombers like the Retaliator or the Vanguard Harbinger, even has a separate torpedo station. However, we already know some of the other operator modes, such as the scanner mode, the mining mode, or the rather unpopular quantum mode, where we select our targets and get jump. Because these modes will also be operable by one player in the future, a co-pilot or other dedicated and managed ship stations. So we as pilots can concentrate purely on the flight, with our co-pilot taking over the scanner and the third player taking care of the route planning and the quantum jump. This is what we have been sorely missing in multi-crew gameplay so far, as our teammates were mostly just gunners in towers or even just passive passengers. And also in this area, the initially implemented missile operator mode, we receive an expanded UI which can score points on the one hand through an improved overview, as well as through the possibility of having a second player operate missiles and torpedoes in a plannable manner. In this way, we as pilots can concentrate on navigation and the ship's weapons, if any, and the missile operator is able to place our missiles and torpedoes as precisely as possible at the right time. Via the extended UI, we have a display of how many missiles we can activate simultaneously with the active ship, how far the loading status is, and whether our activation for the individual missiles and torpedoes has already been logged in. But there are also changes in the missile mechanics. Firstly, the missiles and torpedoes have their own fuel supply and are divided into different phases. In the first phase, the boost phase, the missile is launched from the ship, whereby it has a very high fuel consumption. In the second phase, the interceptor phase, the distance to the target is shortened. The third phase, the terminal phase, which is active from a close distance to the target, then initiates the final target approach. And most likely a hit, I hope so. And with the implemented extended fuel system of the missiles and torpedoes, it is possible as a target of such a missile to either outmaneuver it or to maintain the distance until the missile runs out of fuel and we no longer have to fear danger. In conclusion, it remains to be said that the new mechanics such as the capacitor and the operator modes are fundamentally concerned with space combat. The operator modes certainly offer a multitude of multi-crew possibilities, which makes larger ships with many stations a bit more interesting and powerful. I am definitely looking forward to hunting with the Retaliator, which has a sufficient crew, and to be able to make use of a dedicated missile operator. I hope you enjoyed the video and leave me a like or even a subscribe here. The new gameplay mechanics are very promising and again add depth to the space combat. Also, the missile and torpedo gameplay becomes a bit more interesting, and through the operator modes we get a lot of multi-crew possibilities, which we had to miss so far. But of course, I would be interested in your opinions and comments, either directly under the video, in the Discord or in the regular Twitch streams. But the most important thing at the end, a big thank you to all Patreons, channel members, Twitch subscribers and sponsors. You are a great motivation, and without you the whole thing would not be possible in this form. Thank you very much for that, you guys rock! And I would like to ask for your feedback. How do you like the new intro, the new graphics and the new design at all? Leave me a comment. I try to answer all of them. I say goodbye, until next time, and as always, see you in the verse.